always trying to your life, and then for every scene, there is always an aftershock, even if it's small. Everything you do in the game has an effect. So when you robbed that town guard, I'll write it down. And then when I'm prepping later, it could be 3 sessions. I'm just so real and alive. So you'll get ambushed. And there'll be people who will be just surrounding you. And there'll be a masked figure saying that they're here to get revenge. And everyone's going to be racking their brain about what's going on. And then the dude pulls his mask off. And it's the town guard who was fired from his job. His wife left him. And he lost custody of his child because you robbed him. And he's hunted you down. He's become like a level 3 fighter. And now he's going to harm you. That is something that I love to do. I call it a scene sequel, which is just what can I bring back from another scene in another game that makes sense, that's coming to knock on the door now.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's what a lot of I've noticed. The rest. I still.
But again, when it's your turn, that should go ahead and.
That's one thing I'd always.
Is to describe things basically from a different point of view. So rather than talking in the first person, describe things in the third person. And you can also describe, at least I allow my players to do this, you can describe the role play instead of actually acting every single sentence out. So instead of having to pretend you're talking to the guard, if you don't feel comfortable with that yet, that's fine. You just basically scale it back and say, okay, well, I tell him something nice about his armor. I want to impress him, or I want to make him feel respected. And so I mentioned something, about the make of his sword. I totally allow that. I don't make the player role play it every word for word if they don't want to. And that, I think, is a good set of training wheels if they ever want to work into using that character's mind and their voice and trying to figure out what they would say.
Yeah, and that's definitely like a perfect.
I'm genuinely nervous that my computer would get fried if it was plugged in. It's that bad right now. So
yeah. But yeah, like Tim.
So it's about, you know what I mean?
I'm sorry, you cut out that entire time.
My internet went down and I switched to my phones, I think. Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting you. It's really slow, but I'm getting you a little.
Really bad signal right now.
Okay.
I have one bar.
Not to mention.
I don't know.
Right. You always seem to have the worst luck on.
But for like a good 2 years, I had rock solid internet, super fast internet. But now it's AT&T Uverse, and we live in a great neighborhood, but I get terrible internet when just whenever it storms.
Right. That's all right.
When you built your homebrew world.
Sorry, what was that?
What did you
cutting out again.
with? When you built your homebrew world, what did you start with?
My first homebrew world, I started with my home group, I should say.
Do. They feel the need to create an entire world before they ever run a game. And I think that's a huge mistake. Put together that city and started playing and didn't let it stop you. You didn't stop and try to build your own entire world from scratch before running a single game.
Right.
Well, amazing. I'm sorry my internet has been crappy.
That's okay, man. It's so cool to have. Well, that's all right.
That's the whole thing. And Tabletop Terrors is under the umbrella of the publishing company Absolute Tabletop. And so we also publish books. So if you want to watch some videos about D&D, creativity, and having fun, Tabletop Terrors is where you want to be. And if you want some books that are just really useful at the table and designed to help you have more fun, be more creative, and run a great game, check out AbsoluteTabletop.com.
And of course, as I've said in my last
on. This was fantastic, man. And if anybody's watching this, I recommend subscribing for sure.
All right, viewers.